Are you sure? Why would that be the case? Let me double check. Hello? Yeah, I can hear me. Are you sure you can't hear me, man? It's saying that it's picking up the voice here now. Guys, can you hear me clearly now? I can. Now I can hear you. All right, that's good. So I think at the start, for the first couple seconds, there's something that I was trying out, and maybe that's what was causing a little bit of an issue with the voice. But good to know that we got it back. We don't want to cast a Osiris League match without voice, right? Now, first match, 10-21 got it. Second match, 1v got it. Now we are at the third match, and then this is going to be the decider. Whoever wins this is going to be the Osiris League champion. So far, based on the first match, 10-21 did a very nice job in terms of surprising 1v. In the second match, it kind of felt like 1v had the measure of 10-21. And then today, I mean, for 10-21 to win, I think 10-21 has to put something out there that's new, that's not something 1v is used to. So far, we saw both teams kind of preferring that 2-arc game. So whoever gets the arc, you know, the first arc or second arc, they didn't... they kind of didn't want to play for the third arc, and we saw the points being set up in a way, as in the Osiris League match, Osiris League, the skill points being used, saved, used, and picked in a way where teams are going for a 2-arc strategy. In a way, from a neutral point of view, it'll be more interesting to see if they can go for the third arc. I actually want to see a third arc being played, and I have a feeling that 1v had that, third arc game better compared to other teams, and why they're choosing not to do against that against 10-21, I'm not sure. Jabba, who did you vote for? Man, I went all in on 1v, so I'll show you why. How do I show you why now? Okay, I think I show it over here. Now we got time, guys. We got about 8 minutes, so we can kind of scroll around, not the end of the world. So this is where it is. Bets. So yes, I kind of cleared the shop already, so I bought everything that you buy with from the shop. So I kind of got lucky and smart with the betting, and then whatever I had, I put it on 1v. It looks like the most of the population actually thinks 1v is a favorite as well. Why not? They got the shiny glowing, banner and everything. They're last time's winner. So yeah, so from a coins point of view, obviously I want 1v to win, but then saying that 10-21 did help us make a lot of coins as well. So have been betting on 10-21 quite a bit up until the finals, and then that has been the source of our success. Now, if you look at Eye for Talent before the start of the tournament, obviously we didn't know about 10-21, so I put it all in on 1v. I did put it on some 60 GT as well. Yep, so 60 GT won that already. So I would get quite a bit from 60 GT, but then, why stop there? Let's get the 1v bits as well. So a part of me does want 1v to win. Forgot to bet on your farm. Hey man, I haven't been betting on my farm either. Like, there's so many things to do on the main account that you kind of forget about, I guess, farm accounts nowadays. Now, looking at the other realms, I guess, since we got time. So if you look at Realm of Sobek, this is one of the finals that we were paying quite a lot of attention to. 2489 CG, that's our destination kingdom, so we're looking forward to being there, and we were supporting and watching their matches and so on. They got the 2-0 win, so it doesn't look like they're even playing the third game. So I didn't know about this before. So if you do win the 2 games, then you probably don't have to play the third. I mean, that's what it seems like. I actually thought they would play the third as well, but looks like they don't. In terms of the previous realm, so congratulations to 2489 and 89 CG. In terms of the previous realm, we do have a third match that's going to be played out. W244 versus GV77. To be honest, this is one of the realms that I haven't watched at all, so kind of don't know what happened there, but then it looks like some very close matches. So I think they usually play their matches at 15 UTC, which is kind of beyond my cutoff time. So I haven't watched it much, but from the looks of it, very close matches. So there's going to be a nail biter here as well, maybe later tonight. So that's 15 UTC, I think. Anubis 60 GT won already, so 60 GT got their job done. So they're probably gonna have like that third line there. So 3 Ark KvK Osiris League winners. So congratulations to 60 GT as well. 1960 that is. And this is 1v the final realm, or the oldest realm, if you wanna put it that way. Now both matches actually has been very close if you look at it from a points point of view, but then in the first match it kind of didn't look like 1v was going to catch up to 1021. In the second match it didn't look like 1021 was going to catch up to 1v. So because they're playing that 2-hour game, it has been, you know, that sort of matches where it doesn't necessarily feel like the match was that close because of how the third arc has been, you know, kind of played. Now, in terms of the last match again, so if I think from 1v's side, what I want to see is them trying to actually score the first or second arc, whichever they get early on, so they can drag it out for the third arc. I mean, so that they don't have to, you know, miss out on the third arc. I think 1v, it's a bit riskier to go for the buildings game rather than going for the arc game. But then again, in the last match, 1v did have a higher buildings score, so I think that may be the case. As much as I want to see a third arc, it could be a war game as well. Andre. One v 1021 win, sorry. Hey man, I don't know what you said. That doesn't make sense. Andre, I love this channel. Thank you, man. Thank you for your support. Now, guys, as much as I was talking about, you know, my choices, preferences, and so on, let's see whether I can pull out for you guys to see who you guys think is gonna win. So let me go to the polling place and let's see. Now, I've been saying this for a while. There's a thing there called not a poll, like there's like a Q&A I can do. I don't know how to do this. We're probably not gonna try to do that during a Osiris League final match, but one of the more casual streams, I think we're gonna try it out. That has been intriguing me for a little bit. So the two choices, 1021, and then you got 1v. Let's see what you guys think. Now, whilst we are doing that, let me just make sure that I have, straight after this match, my arc starts. So as you can see, 1 hour 1 minute. So I don't think I even get to finish this match. I mean, I do. Obviously, I'll finish the match, but then I gotta make sure that my and everything are working. Okay, so I got the attack boost to the right. I can leave with the attack boost. I got the capacity boost. I put them on. I gotta make sure that my marches are all set up as well. But straight from this match, I gotta jump into like my normal arc match. Okay, yep. So I got the 5 marches set up as well. So that's good. Now, speaking of 1v, the KvK that we're fighting in, we are facing 1v here. So 1v, 1v is probably like the biggest part of my life at this stage. As you can see, past 7 is the next area where we are fighting 1v. So as much as we are going for 1v today, it seems like, you know, every single match that we have, we are kind of fighting against 1v here. But anyways, enough of that. Let's go to the match area. We got less than a minute now, so we gotta make sure we get in, right? We gotta make sure we get in. So we gotta be heavily clicking and trying to get in. Now, this is the last match. So far, we have been lucky. So far, we definitely have been lucky in terms of you know, being able to get in and whatnot. But then we just don't know whether we can get in. This is the finals, the third match. There's a good chance that there's going to be a lot of people that tries to get in and, you know, we kind of fail. But for your sake and my sake, I hope that's not the case. So let's go with the clicks. Let's see if we can get in. I'm practicing my clicking, by the way. That's what you gotta do, right? Practice your clicks. Okay, all right. It's 13 UTC, sharp on 13 UTC. The match should open. Let's see how it goes. Get in, enter. I think we got in 108 only before us. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close the poll. Let's see what you guys thought. How do I end this poll? End the poll. All right, 71% think 1V is gonna win, not 1021. Looking at 1021 in the blue on the left hand side, you got 1021 Black Jack at 3.4 billion power. On the right hand side in red, you got 1V from 1034 with 5.15 billion power. So 1V definitely has the advantage in powers, but at this stage powers probably doesn't mean everything, because powers is probably the difference between the troops that you have, and you can overcome that with healing heavily. But then the other thing that kind of plays a role here is the equipments and all that as well, and that is related to power as well. I have a feeling that 1V is in a way a little bit better off in terms of equipments, but we'll find out today in the middle fights, I guess. So this is the journey of Blackjack. No point talking about the previous matches, but just look at the last two matches. You can see that Blackjack came very close in the last match of winning, and the first match they obviously won as well. And now 1V doesn't mind these close matches because they want to make sure that, you know, they're in control of the match, and that's how they feel comfortable. So what we saw in the last match is 1V, despite being very close on the points, 1V were not too aggressive. 1V was decently poised, and, you know, they kind of went for their win that way rather than being too aggressive. Mr. Na Gaming, one of our friends over here, that's a very impressive account. He's lucky to be part of that 1V setup that means everything nowadays, I guess. And there you go, I Am Strong. Speaking of I Am Strong, we do have an account overview of I Am Strong. If you wanna check it out, that 500 million account with almost 18 billion kill points, that's definitely worth checking out what matches he's using. There's quite a lot of other players that we kind of know from 1V, because unfortunately we had to play too many KvKs against 1V. So yeah, there you go. Now we got 26 seconds left of the match to start, and that's when the gates are gonna open and we're gonna be in the match. I always bet on underdogs go 1021. Yeah, I kind of used to do that as well, man. I mean, I did bet 1021 all the way, but after the first loss, I convinced myself maybe 1V is the underdog. I don't know. Moonlights, 1V, win OL, and then Moon Tag of winning KvK. What a good ending for 2021. Yep, that's, always 1V has a good ending to everything. Good start and good end. Assalamu alaikum, 2518. Hey, man, how are you going? Suharto. All right, now the gates have opened. We got marches coming out. The two double C's are going towards two direction from 1021, and then you got rest of the marches coming out as well. Let's have a look at the 1V side. 1V has all their marches coming out as well. Obviously, that's the only thing to do at the start of the match. You gotta get your marches out. Now, in terms of getting your marches out, who has the fastest marches that's going to make it to the obelisk and start capturing it? Looks like 1V is going to take 1V Mancha. Mancha is going to take advantage of the outposts and go that way. Let's have a look at the rally situation. But then, yep, 30 versus 30. No drama there. In terms of the rallies, you got 4 obelisks being, obelisk, actually 4 obelisks being rallied by 1021. When it comes to 1V, the 2 extra outposts are being rallied as well. 1V taking advantage of that outpost, getting a little bit of a boost. They're going towards the bottom obelisk. Now we're going to zoom out a little bit and going to keep an eye out on who gets the obelisk first. Now we do have 1021 getting into one of their obelisks first. Now 1021 in the second match didn't use hard push, and in this match we are seeing neither one of them using hard push. So none of the teams actually used hard push, which is exceptional, I guess. Pluto Gaming, hey man, how you going? Moonlights, yo Pluto, good luck. Men Gigla fam, real crazy Indonesian players. All right, Tien Viet, hey man, how you going? Going good, man. Good to have you guys here. All right, so in terms of the outposts, now that everyone's touching all the outposts and all the obelisks, let's see who has been faster. So 10 seconds on this line of obelisk, 10 seconds advantage to 1021. In terms of the other ones, 10 seconds advantage to 1021 as well. So 1v a little bit slower of the mark, but it's just 10 seconds, so it's not gonna make that much of a difference. Now the second thing we want to see is the 2 desert altars. So that's the meta, that's what people goes for. Who is going to pressure on whose desert altar, because that's usually the aim that people goes for. Now we did see in the last match 1v kind of trying to put the pressure on the shrines as well, and I don't know whether we're gonna see the same. Now this is their own shrine, so obviously they're gonna send some marches here. Okay, we got the BK Love Cow that kind of got here. He's kind of running around. I don't know what he's doing. He's hiding in that caravan for a little bit. He's making this Saladin chase. Now, that's the thing I don't understand, man. What is happening with these Saladins? Is 1v, like we saw it in the last match as well, is Saladin having a comeback? Is 1v actually focusing on the Saladins? Now what's happening over here is we just noticed I am strong kind of going towards the middle, and they are trying to disrupt 1021, pressuring their Shrine of Life. So 1021 is trying something different. 1021 is actually going for the Shrine of Life rather than the desert altar. That's where all of their marches are going. So are they not contesting the desert altar? No, they are putting pressure on the desert altar as well. So you got the rally, you got the marches coming in, so definitely trying to go all out, putting pressure on both of the buildings. So it does look like 1v has less marches. Now those I am strong marches, they were not here initially, they were on the right hand side. So this is not something 1v anticipated. This is something kind of extraordinary 1021 is doing. Now there's a reason why people usually teams doesn't go for both buildings. The reason why people don't go for both buildings, because it's that way you gotta break up your marches, and that way you kind of don't necessarily win either one of the buildings. Now is this a smart from 1021? We'll find out in a little bit. Now on the left hand side on the desert altar, 1021 and 1v is engaging. The engagement is on the building itself. So we saw teams trying to take the engagement a little bit forward from the building so that it's hard for the enemy to capture, but then 1v didn't manage to push 1021 further down. And now we see the Genghis garrison standing here as well. If 1v is smart, 1v is gonna go for it. 1v is not going for it, and the Genghis guy smartly is walking back. Now what's happening on the other side? On the other side we got a similar amount of fighting, and it's kind of taking place on the building itself as well. So neither team managed to push their enemies too far off the building. Now 1v was pressuring this building earlier, and 1v is pressuring this building again, and 1v actually managed to get in. So Shrine of Life, 1v has managed to get it. So if you look at the minimap on the right hand side, at the moment it looks like 1v has the extra Shrine of Light, but at the same time when it comes to 1v's bottom lane buildings, 1021 got both. Okay, 1021 actually got both. Are we for real? Yes, we are. 1021 doing a very good job in terms of taking those buildings. Now 1v has taken the desert altar back. It was blue for a little bit. Now 1021 has cleared them. Now this is the risk we were talking about. So if 1021 all stayed towards that building, 121 could have taken that, but 121 chose to pressure the Shrine of Life at the same time. So they got the Shrine of Life, but then that's at the cost of not being able to, I guess, contest for the desert altar even more. Now the desert altar is more reward, but at the same time, desert altar, the defending teams usually defend very well as well, so maybe not a bad strategy. Now the 1021 marches, we see them, they're trying to die over here on the right hand side so that they can reset and go to the middle. Now in terms of the buildings, 1 minute 48 left. I don't know whether 1v probably can kill them and take the building back, so the first occupation may not be at risk. But then on the right hand side, 1021 has done a better job. So 1021 has cleared 1v out of that building, and 1021 is going to take that building over. Well, they actually have taken their own building over, and then the 2 marchers from 1v is just trying to die here. So first occupation wise, points are pretty much even. No one got the first occupation, but first occupation wise, the advantage, if anything, may end up going to 1021. Now 1021 has put a Jadwiga garrison there. I Am Strong does have a rally coming in, but that rally is less than half health. Now that rally is kind of awkward as well. You got Boudica as primary and Henry as secondary, and that's half health because the 1021 marches here has been kind of swarming it down. Now can they hold on for another 50 seconds to keep that building and take the first occupation? There is a possibility, but not necessarily. I think the possibility is actually quite high because we do see, no, probably not. All the blue marches there are kind of dead, so I don't think they're going to be able to hold on. It's 30 seconds left. 30 seconds is a long time when you're trying to keep the hold of a building. Now, points-wise, there's a slight advantage to 1V at the moment. I'm not too sure why. This is to do with when the buildings convert over, I guess. So in like few seconds time, you'll probably have a even points because no one missed out on their first occupation. In terms of point generation, it looks like most of the buildings are kind of going to start generating points at the same time. Maybe slight advantage to 1021. Now we have 4 minutes 15 seconds left. Let's see whether we see marches kind of going towards the middle already. We have a few marches from 1021 starting to walk towards the middle. 1V is kind of coming in as well, and the first arc obviously is going to be very important. I mean, it's obvious every single arc is going to be very important because there's a good chance that it's going to be just 2 arcs. On top of that, when you get the arc, you can control the arc, you can kind of decide when you score it, and then you can have a better situation where you can go to the middle again. So both teams will definitely be focusing a lot more on the arc now that the initial building occupation situation is kind of sorted out, and now we know that the buildings are going to be fully garrisoned at this stage, but then we may see 1 or 2 rallies coming on from both sides. They're not going to be well supported rallies. I just want to see who is rallying what at this stage. So there's an obelisk rally from 1V, which is kind of odd to see at this stage, but then there are 2 altars that are being rallied, so that's normal to see. Now from 1021, a lot more rallies. 1021 is still rallying the obelisks, so there is a chance that they're rallying them cross obelisk, maybe just to get to the middle, or is that not the case? Like, I don't know what they're doing. Why are they rallying obelisk at this stage still? We'll take a look. But then more interestingly, in terms of the middle fight with less than 3 minutes left, who has more marches? Oh my god, I think I see more 1V marches here. 1V red, it looks like little red ants coming from all over the place, and they're gonna eat up everything on their way. But then 1021, the blue marches are coming like a wave, and they're up to the temple. They actually have a better position at this stage. So if they can stand here, if they can hold ground 1021, it's gonna be advantage to them, because that's when 1V has to walk in, and whoever walking in, from our previous experience, we saw that they don't necessarily do good. So it looks like, based on the number of marches coming in, it does look like everyone's going all in for the middle, and it's just 2 minutes left now before the fighting starts. I feel like I need a drink of water. All right, and now that I'm rehydrated, we are ready for the middle fight. Isan, hi, hey man, how you going? So 1 minute 45. So previous couple of matches, we saw both teams kind of preferring to start fighting when there's about 30 seconds left, which is probably a little too late for my liking. But then now that we have both the teams, most of their marches in the middle, maybe they'll start with like a minute mark. There's still marches coming from both sides. It's going to be interesting to see which team goes for what skills, if there's a variation. Now, one of the things we kind of complain about sometimes during Ark of Osiris is the skills are not unique enough in terms of what teams kind of choose to use, because there are some defined meta skills and every team kind of goes for that, so it nullifies the effect of the skill. Say, for example, if both teams are using mystical formation, then might as well there be no mystical formations or any skills, because both teams have the same advantage. So we see 1V kind of being aggressive now. No, not necessarily. The balls are getting smaller, the balls are getting tighter. Who is engaging first? So 1021 decided to engage first. 1021 going with mystical formations, and now the other team went with mystical formations as well. 1 1v going with to the death. And now 1v probably is going to have this arc because 1v went with to the death, and on the other hand 1021 went with War Drums and Heaven's Grace. Now Heaven's Grace is a pretty decent skill. Some say it counters the to the death skill. I think it does counter it a little bit, but not to the fullest. Usually the team that is using to the death has an advantage. So 1v using to the death in the first arc, they have to win this now, and that kind of confirms to me that 1v is going to play for that 2 arc game, because if you use to the death, I mean at the first, that means you're kind of going for holding the arc strategy. Now I do see a lot of 1v matches going back. There are sad-faced blue matches going back as well. In the middle it does look like there's more 1v matches. The arc has spawned. Is everyone kind of fighting each other, or someone is remembering to grab the arc? So we see 3 people kind of trying to have a go at the arc. I can't tell which team they are from. I have a feeling all 3 could be from 1v. The reason why I say that, and doesn't matter, I was wrong, because the guy that got the arc is Sugar from 1021. Sugar is walking away with the arc. Sugar won't go too far. Sugar is brought down by quite a few 1v matches there. So in the middle, I definitely see more red matches going home now. So even with to the death, if 1v doesn't have it, this match is gonna be quite interesting. Then there's sad matches going home from both sides, but probably more red. Now it'll be interesting to see whether we have 1v coming back, joining again. I don't see any matches from 1v coming in again anymore. It's probably a little too early to expect that, but 1021 is walking away with the arc, and it's actually going to be a 1021 arc, I believe. Now I don't know why these matches are walking away. Why you guys walking away? What's wrong with you? Come on, come back in the middle and fight. I know that they think they got the arc. There are still some 1v matches here. I don't know why they're going all the way. Are they trying to sacrifice their matches so that they can refresh and come back again, assuming they got the arc? Fallen, yo, ladusgamingyt, how you're going. So now it's definitely in the middle. It's all 1021 and 1021. Which direction are they going? They're not necessarily clicking on the outpost, are they? Are they going towards the outpost? Yeah, they may be going to, well, it's not a straight line to the outpost. They're going somewhere in between the outposts. In general, they're just walking towards their direction, and then they will probably, they may decide to take it to their starting zone. They're not taking the direct route to the starting zone, because 1v has come back. 1v's marches, rather than going back to the middle, they have come back to pressure on the desert altar, which is probably a smart move, because at this stage they kind of lost the arc already, even though we see a KvK kind of running behind, and that Ethelflaed is really on low health. I do hope 1021 keeps at least a couple of fresh matches here. Yep, 1021 Witcher is guarding the arc carrier very well, so that KvK is not gonna achieve much. But then it'll be interesting to see whether 1021 decides to go for the capture, because now if you count between the first match, second match and the third match, how many ever arcs have spawned, 1021 has won more of them. On the right hand side, I mean, as much as 1v was coming in, 1v's single matches came a little too early, the rally came a little too late. Obviously it's Archer rally, so a little slower. So by the time the rally gets there, 1v is not going to have any supporting matches, so 1v is not going to succeed in taking that building over at this stage, it feels like. Now 1v is focusing back on the building game. Now 1v has, remember, 1v has used up to the death, so second arc win for 1v is going to be harder. In the second arc, 1021 is going to have to the death, so I don't know how 1v can counter that. When you're using to the death, you kind of have to win that arc, and 1v didn't. So at this stage of the match, if you ask me, do I wish I could take my bets off 1v? I would probably say yes. Not winning the mid fight with to the death is devastating, and 1v may struggle a little bit. Now let's look at the points though. So 1v at this stage has a slight advantage on the points. I'm saying slight because, I mean, you know, it's 2,000 points. Actually, it's more than slight. 2,000 points is more than slight. Now the arc is going to be 3,000, so technically 1021 has a 1,000 point advantage, technically speaking. But then at the same time, it's not about the 1000 points, it's about the fact that 1021 hasn't used there to the death. And as you can see, 1021 is going to go and stand at their starting area for a while, so it's definitely going to be a 2-hour game again. Now when I say definitely, that's what it feels like, but then, you know, it could be 3, but based on the first 2 matches, I wouldn't suspect that there could be like a 3rd arc. Now in terms of the buildings game, no one has a single extra building. We do expect OneV to put a bit more pressure at this stage because OneV's marches kind of got reset earlier in the middle, so OneV has an advantage in terms of going back to the middle faster. I mean, going back to the buildings a little bit faster. So that Zenobia Shrine of Life is under pressure. And not only OneV managed to get there, OneV got their garrison, that Janjiska kind of standing there as well. So as soon as the building is taken, that Janjiska can get in there, and that'll make sure that the building stays a little bit longer in their hands. Now why you walking back? Now he now realized he can go back. Maybe the building is full, that's why he can't go back. So that bodyguard should probably make space for that Janjiska. Right, so 1 building down, OneV is going to get a bit more advantage on the building. Now this is the building, Desert Altar on 1021's top lane. This is where OneV's rally came a little too late compared to the marches, but this time around this is take 2, and then you got a cav rally coming in. You do have some support marches here, so this time around they may be able to do that, take that building over. So we want to consistently check points per minute. OneV does have a little bit of an advantage. Overall points though, technically Black Jack is still 1000 points ahead. OneV has to change that around, and then somehow without to the death and against to the death have to win the 2nd arc, which kind of feels hard now. Now that we'll check out later, but for the time being we got the Zenobia under heavy pressure. We got the Nevsky and Attila rally, which is probably gonna win this. Because there's a good bit of swarm and then quite a bit of support marches from 1V around. 1021's support march as well, they're kind of coming in. Now is that a counter rally? No, that's not a counter rally in Ark. Ladus, what are you talking about? People don't do counter rallies, people actually rally other buildings. So we just saw hard push going in from 1V anticipating they may be able to take over this building pretty soon, and they wanted to start generating points for them as soon as possible. The Zenobia just falls, and then the building is 1V's. It'll be good to see 1V putting in a proper garrison there as well. We got a Scipio there. Now along with the Scipio, no, it's an XY now, so it doesn't look like the proper garrison is there. I don't see any garrison marches from 1V around. Okay, alright, that march is in. Jadwiga in garrison now, so maybe they can hold on to it a little bit longer. Now 1021 is coming in with quite a few marches, but then still the remaining 1V marches in terms of numbers are kinda better. And then 1V's usage of that skill, hard push just then, kinda makes sense. So they're going to convert this building a little bit faster, but then they have lost the Shrine of Life. It's kinda hard to hold on to a Shrine of Life, like, you know, far away, because it's so close to your starting zone and anyone can kind of walk in and swarm it down. It doesn't hold that many troops either, so you kind of can't expect to hold on to a Shrine of Life too early. Now what about 1V's other buildings? Is 1V under pressure? Well, actually before that, let's see the Sky Altar. So both altars from 1021 belongs to 1V now. They got Jadwiga garrisons in both. So you know how people ask that question, who is the better garrison and whatnot in Ark. It looks like for the forward buildings, both teams is kind of choosing Jadwiga or Janjiska, and for their closer buildings, people are kind of choosing Zenobia. Well, we got a Jadwiga Janjiska here though from 1021. 1021 took that building back. 1V didn't get to hold that building for too long, so they didn't generate points, but they did stop 1021 from generating points. What about the Sky Altar? The Sky Altar over Desert Altar on the top lane actually has converted to red, and red is generating points from that. Now the points difference, 1V has kind of made it up. So if you look at the points, it's roughly about 3,000 points difference now, roughly. And then to 1021 has the Ark, so which kind of makes it somewhat even in terms of points. So in terms of points, 1V will go ahead maybe even a little bit before the second arc, but the problem is they used up to the death, which can be costly for the second arc. Like I don't know how and why 1021 will now lose the second arc. If they didn't lose the arc fight against to the death, I don't know how they could kind of win that. So anyways, 1021 took their building back, and you got a Nevsky in garrison now. If we look around, 1v is bothering the outposts a little bit. So 1v has a march kind of going around with an XY that's probably killing farmers and probably taking over the outposts whenever they have a chance. 1021 is sending almost a half-death march. Ooh, so it wasn't just the XY, there's a full zone there. So that march, the Boudica half-dead Boudica is probably gonna die here. The Boudica shouldn't be able to take over that march. So 1021 has to send like one more march, which is what we see, a zone coming in. In terms of the 1v outpost, though, they haven't been bothered as much. And the other thing I want to call out is 1v is actually doing a decent job in terms of keeping their buildings. So this is what we noticed from the second game. 1v is playing a better building game. They're not losing their own buildings. And you got a Janjiska in garrison from 1v, who obviously managed to hold that Skyholder strong from 1021. So the hope for 1v now is the fact that they're playing a very decent buildings game. They're not necessarily losing their own buildings, or haven't lost at all, to be honest, since the start of the match. So there was a initial struggle with the first capture, but since then 1v has been pretty strong in terms of holding their building. And then you got a Jadwiga garrison here, you got an archer rally with Henry and Nebu, and the rally is going to die. There's no supporting marches from 1021 alive here anymore, so we know how that ends up. That rally is probably gonna just die. Shrine of Life, yep, that's a very similar story. Jadwiga garrison. So Jadwiga actually seems to be more prevalent. So the highest number that we see is Jadwiga, and then we see maybe Janjiska, and then we see Zenobia. Now the Jadwiga and Janjiska in terms of arc especially maybe makes sense, because you've got to do a lot of walking, and cavalry does have an advantage in arc in that regard. So that building is gonna hold strong, like a single march from BK. I don't know what he's trying to achieve here, but then now it's too late. He just has to let it die now. Now 1021 in their own building on their own side, I don't know why they have a Guan garrison. There must be something going wrong. The garrison leader probably went for the refresh. Now just because it's a Guan, it may actually fall. Now this is going to be quite disappointing from 1021's part. Kind of losing that building for cheap by having a Guan garrison. It's not like there was a rally here from 1v that we could see. Maybe there was earlier, but then when they took it over, there wasn't. And now there is the 1021 support marches coming in a little too late, I guess. So they will be able to take that building over, but it's just gonna take a little bit of time. So again, now I'm trying to look for positives on the 1v side. The reason why I'm doing that is they're definitely behind in this match, not in terms of points. Even after 1021 scores the arc, 1v is gonna have at least like 1,000 points difference. They are earning points at a faster rate than 1021 as well. It's 440 versus 590, so 1v is definitely playing a better building game. But then 1v is playing a pretty poor arc game, if you say. Using to the death in the first arc and not winning does leave them in a risky position. Now that Zenobia garrison from 1v in their own building, Shrine of War, is doing pretty good. The rally is not going to be successful, but then there's a lot of blue marches that are trying to swarm. Now the blue marches, most of them are in low health. There is quite a bit of 1v marches that's coming in as well. So yeah, it's hard call. Maybe 1021 can take it over. Now we do see more marches going into the building. The rally is not as reinforced, so the rally is doing good, but the building is just better supported. Andre, yeah, come on 1021 NM, I am planning to buy a plot of land with that bet. Hey man, I gotta feed my kids. I gotta feed my kids with that money that I have 1v going on. I need 1v to win as well. Mullides to the death and still lose battle game, and that's what I kind of have been talking about as well. That's gonna be pretty bad. Now that that's the case, Like earlier, before the start of the match, I was kind of saying that 1v probably should recognize they have a better mid fight, and I mean 1v had to prove me wrong. 1v doesn't have a better mid fight. 1021 is probably 1021 is probably better equipped than 1v. I can't believe I'm saying that sentence. Anyone can be better equipped than 1v based on what we saw from 1v players, but then 1021 probably is. Now that fight is going in for such a long time, so the rally failed from 1021. Now we see the sad faces going on. 1v dedicated huge numbers here, and that is Zenobia is the ultimate winner, so the Zenobia didn't fail, and 1v is gonna hold on to that building. So as I keep saying this, 1v hasn't lost any of their buildings since the start of the match, so 1v is definitely doing a better job in terms of buildings. Now 1v not only playing defensive, they have taken over some of the 1021 buildings from time to time as well, but we probably want to see them do that a little bit more. Probably want to see them do a little bit more. Now the Ark has been captured. Even after the Ark capture, as you can see, we do have a 1200 point live, and then 6.5 minutes later the second Ark gonna be spawning. Now this is probably the do or die situation for 1v. 1v has to win the second Ark. They lost the first Ark. They don't have to the death. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but somehow they're gonna do it, because otherwise between the second Ark and the end of the match, it's gonna be extremely difficult for 1v to win that over from the buildings game and gathering and whatever else they can do. Now in that regard, 1v did a decent job again here. As you can see, from time to time 1v is taking over buildings from 1021. 1021, when the big flow of 1v comes, 1021 probably doesn't have that situation sorted out. How many marches do they need to keep that building theirs? And 1v, you know, with that advantage taking over buildings from time to time. And one other thing that's happening with 1021 is after they take over their own buildings, it takes them a little bit longer than 1v to have a proper garrison in there. Moonlights, otherwise I'll lose 90% of my Eye of Talent coins. Oh man, hey man, same thing to me as well. Ark captured. Yes, they deposited Ark fallen. Then how's our KvK going? I think our KvK is done. So 1021, I mean not 1021, 1v won their first, won the first zone, and 1v's allies won their first zone as well, as in after pass 4. So I don't see how we can do much, and we do have a few people migrating out at this stage as well, because migration dates have been set. So not just the 2, 4, 8, 9 migrations, other kind of migrations taking place as well. So I would unofficially say that KvK is kind of over and we kind of lost it. But then, more importantly than the KvK side of things, we want to focus on the Ark now. Now, I don't know why there's a lot of marches from 1021 gathering over here. 1021 have a lot of marches gathering next to their desert altar. Like, are they deciding when to go into the middle? I mean, why aren't they going in together? They wanna join here first and then go to the middle. I don't know why they would do that. Usually you will join. Usually you'll just gather here. Now 1021, as much as they're delaying going to the middle for whatever reason by a little bit, 1v is there already, and 1v is taking up the advantageous position. Now 1v definitely recognizes how important it is for them to win this Ark, and I'm sure they're gonna, you know, they're gonna send the whole armies from everywhere here. They may even choose to have no support marches left around the buildings. So we will probably see 1021. If 1021 does one rally, maybe, then they can take over a building. Like each of these 1v buildings is probably gonna fall with one rally. But then if that comes at the cost of losing the Ark, then probably not worthwhile. So 1v, let's go back to the middle. 1v should be pushing in for this Ark. Yep, that's exactly where I would want 1v to see. Like, I don't know why every team kind of doesn't do it more often. So you want to stand on the other side of the Ark if possible. If you gather there early on in numbers, you can do that, and 1v is going for that. Yeah, I'm gonna take a sip of water again, because this may be exciting or this may get depressive. All and hope 1021 wins. Nenem 21, you can do it. I'm with Moonlights on this one. I know Moonlights is I think Moonlights was no. Yeah, Moonlights is on my side. Moonlights went in all on 1v, right? Moonlights. So I went all in on 1v as well. 1v has more matches coming in. 1v is still holding on to that special position. Now 1v, for inspiration, what 1v needs to do is look at the right hand side. Look at that building, man. It actually says your name. Do you want to lose that privilege? Do you want that building to say 1021 next year? You don't want to do that. You want to make sure you hold that. There is 2 minutes left at the moment. I actually want 1v to stand a little bit further forward and maybe come back to here when 1021 starts pushing in, keeping in mind this time around 1021 will have to the death, and 1v probably has to use Heaven's Grace, and this is the last arc of this season, guys, because these teams play for 2 arc match, even though half of the match is left. Moonlights, I'm in 2518. Of course I support 1v in KvK and OneV. Hey man, I'm fighting 1v, but I support 1v as well. TSN Lambu, the most exciting part of Osiris League is big arc battles, but kiss them goodbye if Lilith makes the updates. They should. Stupid move. Yeah, man, I mean, the mid fights are exceptionally special, so whatever they're doing, I hope they enhance the middle fights rather than taking them away from us. Now, in terms of this arc, 1 minute 15 left, 1 minute 14 left, 1 minute 13. The seconds are passing. I hope that 1021 has all the matches they wanted to have there. And does 1v have all the matches? No, 1v still has some more matches coming in. I don't think 1v needs to push in. I think 1v can hold on, and 1v can kind of see how they can, you know, defend against 1021 here. Now 1021 goes with mystical formations, 1v goes with war drums, 1021 goes with war drums as well. Heaven's Grace, I don't think 1v is going to use until 1021 uses to the death. Now I don't think 1021 can use to the death, so Heaven's Grace probably not coming in. So 1v is no, to the death came in from 1021, and Heaven's Grace comes from 1v as well. All right, so skills wise somewhat opposite of what we had on the first arc, so this is probably a good test of whether to the death is better or Heaven's Grace, because Heaven's Grace won the first one for 1v's sake. Now we are kind of hoping that Heaven's Grace is better than to the death, which I don't think is the case, but then regardless, let's see who wins this battle. So 1v with a little bit of a disadvantage, and 1v with a must-win arc situation now. So 2,200 points difference. The middle fight is quite even in terms of points per minute. 1v has a slight advantage, but if you look at the buildings, it's kinda dead. Even no, 1021 has one extra building, so that just makes it more must win for 1v. Now 1v in the middle has a more marches, I want to say, but it's hard to say because they're kind of, you know, moving around, and some of the marches doesn't even show properly. Arc still hasn't spawned yet, I want to say. Has Arc spawned? I don't think Arc has spawned yet. No, has it though? No, I don't think Arc. Oh, Arc has spawned. Hey, Arc has spawned. Noob caster, look at the left. Arc has spawned, and we got Silver Rain walking away with the Arc a little bit. Okay, 1v did the first bit right. 1v has got the Arc on their side. Now, this is one of those situations where now 1v doesn't go for the buildings anymore. Every dead march going back has to come back and go back to the middle. Now, 1021 grab the Arc. 1021 is pulling it back. More marches maybe from red now that the middle has thinned out a little bit. We see some more marches. We just saw a big chunk of blue marches going home. Sad face, even more blue marches going home. So 1021 has been kind of moved out of the middle by 1021. 1021 got the Arc. 1021 walking back. Now this is funny, guys. So what are we doing wrong? How are we doing it? How are we reading it wrong? Do you guys think, honestly, do you guys think, question, reply in chat if you can, do you guys think Heaven's Grace fully counters to the death? I didn't used to think that's the case, but based on what we are seeing, like maybe coincidence, or is that not coincidence? Is that how it is? Heaven's Grace fully countering to the death twice in this match. Or did 1v go in more in terms of numbers, in terms of the second arc? What do you guys think? So we have all these 1v matches coming home. We have all these half-dead 1v matches coming home. I don't know why they're kind of walking in down south first and then trying to walk up. That kind of doesn't make sense. They probably could have just, you know, gone in and pressured like these matches here. See, these matches are doing something smarter. They're going for the building straight away, because this is not about taking the building. This is about actually dying, so that your matches come back. Now, some of the 1v matches still fighting in the middle. No, not necessarily. They're just trying to get dead troops, I guess. In terms of the buildings, one extra building still to 1021, which is 1v gonna take over. So 1021, as much as they took the Shrine of Life from 1v, they didn't manage to put a proper garrison. You got a XY, so that's gonna be swarmed down, and points per minute is gonna even out pretty soon. Now, the points difference, look at that points difference. That's actually 2000 points difference, roughly 2100, 200, 2000 plus the 3500 walking here. That's 5000 points difference. If 1v now holds on to this arc, how does 1021 win? So you're gonna get about 5000 points difference. 1v has been playing a very solid buildings game, and when you're playing a very solid buildings game, you're not going to lose your buildings as often. So that's one less avenue for 1021 to get points. You're not going to have another arc that you can win. And then lastly, gathering doesn't give you that much points. I mean, 1021 can gather, but then 1v can gather as well. I'm sure both of them, in the second match, both of them had insatiable desires, so there's a good chance both of them has insatiable desires this time as well. I am strong's XY is quite weak, but then there are support matches from 1021, I mean 1v, so even if the XY dies, not the end of the world. There are few matches coming from 1021. I don't know what are they gonna achieve though, because this arc is too far behind 1v territory, and I'm sure the buildings, I mean not buildings, the cities are just next to it, so they can bring it over. Syndrome 1v, yes, amen. Thank God. Thank God my betting hasn't been going that well in the World Cup, which is quite depressing. Australia got out of the World Cup this morning as well, which is quite depressing as well, but at least my betting when it comes to Ark of Osiris, Rise of Kingdoms, that's going good, so definitely happy about that. Now 1v has kind of created a little bit of a situation here where their marches, the Ark carriers kind of died, but then now I am strong with a Ethelflaed is gonna take it back. There's still 1021 marches kind of chasing, but this is so into 1v territory. So I think what 1021 is trying to do, I mean they know they can't probably take the arc away from 1v here, but then what they're trying to do is they're trying to pressure the arc carrier to make a mistake and deposit the arc straight away. That will create the opportunity for a third arc. But then you're talking about 1v's I am strong here, that's as experienced as it gets, so he's not gonna make a mistake. Even if he dies, not the end of the world. There are few I am strong marches still left, and other players here as well. They can just drag the arc back in middle of the cities, and the 1021 marches I would say is just wasting their time. Rather than wasting their time, they should be focusing on the buildings now, which is what they have done here. So now look at that. If you look at the minimap, now let me see if I can do something fancy over here. Now we tried to get something fancy here. Let's see if I can do that. How do I do that again? Okay, right. Let's see if it does let me go. Now that we are a little less, worried about the match. All right, yes, I can. Why is that dot so big? All right, I'm just trying to, look fancy like a professor over here. So look at that. Look at that. Ooh, this is a better line, I think. So that building on the right hand corner still belongs to 1021. Now let's go and have a look at that building. Let's see what's 1v doing about it. The sky altar has been taken over by 1021. 1v got a rally coming in. That's a Duke rally with Henry and Nebu, so that rally is definitely going to be successful based on all these support marches from 1v. So 1v is going to take their building back. that was the one extra building that 1021 had. Now look at something else in the back. Look at that. Out of the 3 outposts at the back, 3 of them were red a second ago. At least one of them turned blue now. But then OneV is disrupting points in many different ways. And with this one, they're not even disrupting. They got it converted. So OneV is actually generating points out of this as well. So let's look at the points per minute. We got 650 from Black Jack. That used to be the case because straight after the arc they had an advantage. Now it dropped down to 500 and then 470 for OneV. It's going to even out pretty soon and actually going to go a little bit towards OneV's advantage based on how OneV is bothering at the back, and they got few extra buildings at the back as well. By extra buildings I mean the outposts. And on top of that, keep in mind OneV is sitting on the arc, so there's going to be 3,500 points added. So OneV at this stage, you want to see 1021 having a 3,500 points lead on OneV to make up for that arc, which I don't think they can. So is it too early to say congratulations OneV? I think it's a little bit too early, but I think I'm gonna say that anyways because it looks like OneV has won it because 1021 is slow in reacting in some ways. They did take over that outpost. In terms of the outpost, they should have like a normal garrison at least there. Let's see if they're putting in garrisons or they're just taking over the building. They're just sending a Guan there now. That's the worst march to send there because it took like such a long time to walk there. Secondly, it's not gonna serve the purpose of being a garrison leader either. So why you walking around with a Guan when XY or Nevsky or John, whichever cav march, probably could have done that job faster. So those little things. Oh, what is OneV doing here? I am strong. I am strong is sitting on the other side. I am strong is not sitting, somewhere here. Behind is sitting in front. I don't know why. It's just to, tempt 1021 to lose focus and kind of try to go for them. But 1021 probably is going to stop doing that. 1021 is going for the buildings now. Now that Henry again is not going to be successful. Definitely not going to be successful because the support marches are stuck in the middle. So OneV doing a good job, not just disrupting the points game, they are doing a good job disrupting the supports coming in for the rallies as well. So OneV taking that engagement much further from the desert altar is definitely a smart move. Now I am strong is going with a rally. We got the Joan rally. So usually we are seeing Joan with Attila or Nevsky nowadays. I don't know how that makes sense, but that apparently does because OneV is doing that. So they are going with the Joan and whatever. Let's see what that is from 1021 because they're trying to put a lot of pressure on the buildings, enemy buildings. I don't know whether they're as focused on keeping their own buildings. I only see 3 support marches here, the Genghis-Khan and the Joan and whatever that farming march is. Now what is this? Is this Joan and Nevsky? Alright, that's better. Joan and Attila actually doesn't make sense at all to me, but then Joan and Nevsky somewhat does. Joan Nevsky is stronger than the garrison. I don't know whether the garrison was even full, but then look at that. Joan and Nevsky is taking down that building. Now when the Zenobia is a little bit lower, we're probably gonna see that garrison go in. But then just in terms of the strength of the rally, you guys just saw how strong that rally is. Now there's more reinforcements coming in. The problem is there isn't a lot of reinforcements around. There's not a lot of reinforcements from 1021 around. So I don't know how long they can hold on to that building. That's the garrison swap. But then the problem from OneV is they are not supporting that rally either. Only if a couple more marches came in, they probably could have taken that over. Vishnu, 1021 closing points gap. Yeah, 1021 definitely doing a good job in terms of trying to close the points gap. But then I think I think it's not just closing the points gap, right? They gotta increase and get ahead on the points. Oh my god, am I stuck? No. So for a second my screen was stuck. It's not anymore. It looks like OneV is under pressure, but again 1v is gonna take over that building. The success from me in terms of why 1v can take over all these buildings so fast is the difference between the two teams. Whenever 1v is swarming something, you see the green arrows, which is the usage of Tomiris. So as long as you're using Tomiris, you're obviously gonna take the buildings much faster, and 1v is definitely making a good call in terms of doing that. You don't see the green arrows as much from 1021. Not trying to say that was the only difference, but that definitely played a role. 1v has taken over a lot more buildings from 1021 than 1021 has from 1v. That zone rally lasted a while, and it took a lot of support marches from 1021 to take down that John Nevsky. John Nevsky is the choice for ARC rallies, it seems like. Now on the other side, the Nevsky and Attila did a decent job as well, but then that Zenobia survived. So 1v, as you can see, not only they're defending their own buildings, they're putting a decent amount of pressure on the 1021 buildings as well. Now with 10 minutes left, and 1v kind of holding on to that arc. Where is that arc? Where did I click? Like, isn't it meant to, if I click that, it's meant to take me to the arc carrier? Yep. So now we got a different arc carrier. It's not Armstrong anymore. Armstrong was, you know, standing here with the arc. Now what did that one do? Did you see what did that one do? One did a little running around before he went back. But anyways, 1021 DY kill. City has been hit 300 million per hour. Why are you hitting his city? What are you going wrong? Now DY kill 1031. We got an account review of him as well. If you want to know what kind of marches equipment he uses, we got an account review on the channel, so you can check that out as well. All right, let's focus back on the buildings game. Now 1v is using Insatiable Desires and 1021 matches with the 9 minutes left. Both teams are gonna, well, you know what that means. That means both teams are going to generate gathering points or caravan points at the same rate. But is that going to be enough for 1021? Doesn't feel like it's going to be, because even in terms of points, they are 300 points behind. The points per minute is dead even, 590 on each side. On top of that, 1v is just sitting down there with 300 something points. So he just scored the arc. By the way. All right, so no hidden points anymore from 1v. It's all out in the open. So 30,000 versus roughly 30,800 versus 26,700. So 4,000 points difference. There is no effing way any team can. There's no way 1021 can now make up the 4,000 or whatever, you know. It kind of looks like almost 4,500 points difference now. So congratulations to 1v for winning the Ark of Osiris League in terms of season 6, and we are going to see 1v's name continue here as well. And for most of us people who, you know, put their coins, I mean the Mark of the Champion coins in 1v, they're definitely going to get their coins worth. We can probably clear out the shop tonight. We are still going to watch the rest of the match because it's interesting, but 1021 has surely, 100% surely lost the match now. Moonlights, how is Nevsky Attila makes sense? How is Nevsky Attila? Nevsky Attila? Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question. It doesn't make as much sense, but it makes more sense than Don Attila, I guess. Syndem, I put 28 champions coins on 1v and 98 on 60 GT. Wow, you're gonna get a lot. Vishnu, GG 1v, yeah, definitely GG. GG 1021 as well for such a well played tournament. They did really good. Now secretly, I am not secretly, I don't know whether I should say secretly, I love 1021, how they played. I don't know anyone over there, but then their playing style, well before the finals, I have been betting on them and I loved how they played. But then 1v is like a different sort of beast. So just like JST came very close to winning against 1v, 1021 came very close as well. But over a 3 match, winning against 1v is a tough ask, and 1v is just at a different level compared to other teams. Now next season, 1v probably gets a, you know, 1v probably gets a very beautiful challenge in 60 GT. Now 60 GT, as long as they keep playing in 60 GT, those players, they will be facing 1v. At the same time, 60 GT may choose to migrate to a different kingdom. and that way, you know, they don't have to play against 1v. But then if they keep playing in 1960, they are going to be coming up against 1v. So a proper challenger for 1v. Not that 1v didn't have a proper challenger, to be honest. 1021 did a good job, and as I was saying, JST did a decent job as well, but 60GT is probably like a level up on that. 1021 using hard push with 5 minutes left, and not that will again make that much of a difference, but in a way, good move. Like, you have the points, why not? And they timed it right as well. They just took over the Shrine of Life. That's when they decided to pop that skill, so that building is, you know, turning over a little bit faster. So some points disruption from on 1v's part from 1021, but then in terms of total points, we're sitting at 29,000 and 39,000. That's a full 4,000 points difference. Now, one of the things 1v did great is, after losing the first arc, rather than being disappointed, what they did is they fully made up the points from the first arc in terms of the buildings game. So they got all the points back they lost due to the first arc from building occupation before the second arc came. So the difference you're seeing over here is somewhat the points 1v got from the second arc. How 1v got the second arc, I don't know. They probably should have lost, but they still didn't, and they still got it even without to the death. So well done to them. Vishnu, 1-4 and GT and 28 on 1v, 114. I don't know how much I put in, but then I think on my part I get 170 from each. So like, I don't know how much I put in, but then in terms of, you know, how it shows how much you get back, for me it says 1v I get about 164 or something, and 60 GT I get about 176 or something. So pretty decent amount of coins we should get back, so we can do some good shopping. Rip my coins, GG 1v. Hey man, what are you doing betting against 1v? Andre, you gotta bet on 1v, man. Now 1021 did us a favor. 1021 made sure that this is the first time ever when you're betting on 1v you get good odds. Usually when you're betting for 1v you get like really horrible odds where it's, you know, pointless even betting. But based on 1021's performance, we, you know, finally could bet on 1v with semi-decent odds. Syndom, you bought the coins from the bundles? Yeah, I think I bought some from the bundles, yeah. Some of them you keep getting throughout the Osiris League season for whatever reason, but then I did buy some of them. Actually, I know exactly what I did. So 1960, so the coins on 60 GT, all of them I bought. Like, that's 100% bought. And everything that I put on 1v is what I got throughout. So I don't know how much, which one was how much, but yeah, that's the case. Buildings look pretty even. 1v is just counting down the clock. It's like those World Cup teams who are like 2-0 ahead, where they don't have to do anything fancy. They're just passing the ball around in the defense. That's pretty much what 1v is doing. They're just counting, winding down the clock. All they have to do is defend their buildings, and they get the honor and the glory of winning one more Ark of Osiris season. The points difference now is almost 5,000. So the points difference has been going in 1v's favor, not from the buildings. Buildings has been kind of dead even for a while, 590. So no one's taking anyone's building, but 1v farmers probably came home a little bit earlier. 1v may have designated more people to farm since the second arc as well. Now, because the match wasn't that close, we kind of didn't go around to, you know, count how many farmers who has or whatnot. But then, yeah, it's probably unnecessary at this stage with 2 minutes left. Now that the match is, you know, kind of over, there's one other feature that I want to try out. This is something we installed the other day as well. I don't know how well it works, but I want to check it out. So see, this is the highest level of zoom I can get in game, right? Now let me press a button and see if I can zoom even more. Does it work? Do I have to hold it? What do I have to do? Get the zoom. Mystical formation. One we doing random things. No, I don't think I have this zoom thing down pat yet. Zoom. I don't think I should be pressing multiple times. I think I should be just pressing once. Let me try again. Okay, yes, I should be just pressing once. Alright, I can zoom in even more, but then it becomes a static screen, so it's not that great. Alright, let's get the let's stop lying with your stream deck, Ladus. Let's just check what's happening on the match. Well, guys, what do you want me to check? 1v has won already with 30 seconds left. We got 33,500 versus 38,400. That's a solid 5,000 points lead in the last 20 seconds. We're not gonna get a lot more coming in. So congratulations to 1v for winning this Ark of Osiris competition the second time. 1v is going to have that fancy banner, and we are going to get all those returns from the coins that we were expecting. The match has 3 seconds left, and the count timer is down, not 3 seconds, and 1v wins, and that is amazing. Congratulations to 1v for winning the Ark of Osiris the second time. Well done. Now, guys, I'm gonna quickly rush out of this match because I have my own Ark match starting, which is a normal Ark, but I still gotta go there. So thank you everyone for being here. I wish you a wonderful night. Hope you enjoyed the Ark of Osiris casting that we did this season. Like and subscribe as long as you're enjoying. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of KvK action and other things that we're going to be covering in terms of Rise of Kingdoms action. Bye for now. Have a good night.